Thanks to our policies, the typical New Hampshire family saw their annual income rise by $6,000, the largest increase in recorded history, the largest. Nobody's ever seen that, by $6,000. Everybody was happy. For decades, the corrupt globalist establishment savagely betrayed New Hampshire workers. You know that better than most. I see those beautiful factory buildings. Some are now apartment houses and some are now senior citizens, but the factories, that's what you had to do. The factories, there's so many gone. Your state lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs after the NAFTA disaster and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. But after years of cruel sellouts by past leaders, I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. That was the worst trade deal ever made, what they did to us for so many decades, and replaced it with the incredible USMCA, Mexico, Canada. That's considered now the best trade deal ever made. So good, in fact, that Mexico and Canada are now trying to renegotiate the deal with the Biden administration. I say, don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't do it. Somebody over there told me it's unfair. I said, you know what? We lived with unfair for decades. Now they say it's unfair. No, we made a great deal, and you're all manufacturers, farmers, everybody is benefiting. USMCA, we're very proud of that. Don't let them renegotiate. I withdrew from the job-crushing Trans-Pacific Partnership. That would have totally destroyed this country. They were all set to sign. Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, they were all set to sign it. And I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before. Bringing in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, pouring into our treasury from China when no other president had gotten even 10 cents. Not one president got, and I literally mean not 10 cents. We got hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't think they like me too much, but that's okay. Well, everybody else is paid off by China, including, by the way, our president, okay? It's a big problem. You wonder why he does nothing about China, why he doesn't do what he's supposed to be doing, because he got millions of dollars from China. You see it. I made big promises to the people of New Hampshire, and as your president, I kept every single promise. When China unfairly targeted our lobstermen, I gave them hundreds of millions of dollars in relief straight from the money we were taking in from China. We took a little bit out, like a little bit's hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way, but that's a lot to a lobsterman. And we brought it back. I made a deal with the European Union to completely eliminate tariffs on American lobster. You know that. They were charging us big tariffs so that we couldn't sell to them. The first EU tariff reduction on any product in over 20 years. Nobody ever asked the EU, or if they did, they didn't get it, because they're very difficult people to deal with. I want to tell you that. They don't care about us, they care about them. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, right? I also opened up 5,000 square miles of ocean that Barack Obama closed to New England fishermen. You know about that. But you also know I opened them up totally. Nobody could even tell me why they closed. Think of miles and miles of beautiful ocean front. And now I understand that they want to close it up again. Is that true? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yeah, let Canada do all. You know, Canada's the one that wanted it closed because they want to do the business. And I gave our farmers $28 billion out of the tariffs that we took in from China because they were treated very unfairly. I said, how much would it be? They said, approximately $28 billion. I said, I'm going to take it from China. China paid them $28 billion. Who else is going to do that one, okay? Tell that one to President Xi. You mind giving our farmers $28 billion? Actually, better than that, we signed an incredible trade deal with China, but once COVID came in, I didn't care about trade deals so much, but it's a tremendous trade deal, $50 billion, and it was an amazing deal. But once COVID came in, I didn't even talk about it. In everything I did, I put New Hampshire first, and I put America first, everything. When I left office, We handed Joe Biden the fastest economic recovery ever recorded, all with no inflation. We didn't have inflation. We had low energy prices that kept it down. When he stopped the energy, stopped the drilling, I have a sign, drill we must, right? They have a sign, don't drill. We won't, they won't do it. They won't do it. What they're doing is crazy. And what it's done is raised everything. And now everything's so high, and now they've taken on their own inflationary trend. It's not just energy anymore. But they did that with energy. They destroyed our economy with the high prices. All electric cars. Oh, that's wonderful. Everybody, they don't have enough electric to turn on the lights. And now they're going to say, let's do all electric. I love electric cars. They go for about an hour and a half. Then you're in the middle of nowhere. You're saying, how do I get this thing charged up? He took that booming economy and he promptly blew it to shreds. He took the greatest economy in history. It was just announced that in the first quarter of 2023, GDP growth was a very weak 1.1%, and the forecasts show it's going to be getting much, much worse. So we're at 1% and getting worse. That doesn't sound too prosperous, does it? Look at these other countries that are eating our lunch. I had them. They were doing anything they could. They respected your leader. They respected your country, I want to tell you. They saw me coming. They weren't happy. They weren't happy. Every time France, or one of the countries, but France in particular, they were a little difficult. I really like their leader, but he's a very difficult guy. And whenever he got cute and wanted to tax our people or our companies, I just said, that's okay. We're going to put a 100% tariff on all wine and champagne coming into the United States. They would say, no, 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 we will not do it. We have decided we won't do it. No, but I don't think they do that. I don't think they do that in this group here. We should have tremendous power. We have tremendous economic power that we don't use. But, we better be smart, because soon we're not going to have economic power. We're not going to have anything. Since Joe Biden took office, the typical family has lost over $7,400 in annual income. Think of that. Inflation is out of control. Banks are collapsing. Banks are going bad. That's a bad sign. You remember 1929, it started with the banks. Real wages are down 24 months in a row, the longest losing streak ever in our country. Think of that. Real wages. That's what it's all about, is real wages. The trade deficit has surged to a record $1 trillion. Household wealth has declined by $4 trillion. These are numbers that nobody's ever seen before. They stand up and they say, no, the economy is good. The economy is horrible. After Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline that I started and passed a $20 billion tax hike on American energy, gas prices in New Hampshire are up 53%. And your state, congratulations, you did have one good thing from this administration. You set a record, if you like records, but not like this. Your state has the highest electricity costs in the entire nation. Tell your governor he ought to work on that a little bit. You know that, Steve? You have the highest cost in the entire nation. I will quickly be able to cut that number in half or more than that. I'll do that. Nobody knew that. New Hampshire has the highest electricity costs, I think the highest energy costs, but highest electricity costs in the nation. Let's go to all electric cars. How does that sound, right? You have the highest electric costs in the nation. They don't want to give you, they don't want you driving. Like, how about driving for about an hour and 15 minutes? And then say, it's time to get a charge. Joe Biden cares only about enriching his own family. I care about enriching your family and you. A Biden victory will be bad for you, good for China, and truly great for these globalists. We've got a lot of globalists. A Trump victory will be bad for the globalists, the Rhinos, the communists, the Marxists, but it will be great for the hardworking people of New Hampshire. Within hours of my inauguration, I will begin the process of terminating every Biden policy that is brutalizing New Hampshire and all U.S. workers. I will restore my famously successful executive order requiring that For every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. That was so successful. You remember that? When I did that, and I was actually getting 12, 13, 14 cut down. It was amazing, actually. But they put many of them back. But they haven't been able to up your taxes yet because we have a very strong bill. We went through everything to make sure that nobody could tamper with it. But they're trying to raise your taxes very greatly. Instead of growing the size and scope of the federal government every year, we will shrink it every year with aggressive cost reduction targets for each federal department. But we'll take care of our military. We have to. We have no choice. A lot of bad actors out there looking to do harm. We will take care of our military. You know, I rebuilt our entire military. They gave $85 billion of it to Afghanistan, but in probably the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, $85 billion worth of brand new military equipment. I will create a true national trade policy like the kind that made New Hampshire a manufacturing and industrial powerhouse in the old days. Remember the old days? You see those buildings all over and you say, wow. I did a great job in renegotiating trade deals with other countries. They were the worst, the most horrible deals I've ever seen. I'd often wonder to myself, who the hell negotiated these deals? They were so bad, you'd say they were either like very, very stupid people or they hated our country. Could only be one of two. I think both. Yeah, I think probably. I think maybe both. No, the worst deals I've ever seen with Japan and with South Korea, Mexico, Canada, China, all of these countries, it was just amazing how bad they were. And, you know, like South Korea, we take care of their economy, we take care of everything, we take care of the military. They're right next door to Kim Jong-un. He and I have a very good relationship. People would say, it's not good to have a good relationship. Yeah, it's very good to have a good relationship. It really is. But he's not so happy with Biden. He says bad things about Biden. But what I really wanted to do, the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, you know what that is? That will go along with the Trump tax cuts, which they haven't been able to terminate because we've drawn them so powerfully under the Reciprocal Trade Act. This is, think of this, every country, do we have any children here? No. Couple. Close, that's such a good-looking guy. Put your hands over your ears. Every country, he'll hear it soon enough. Every country is screwing us, right? So they've all charged us taxes and trade barriers. India, China, everyone. Europe, by the way, all over Europe. Under the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, if India, as an example, or China, Europe, any place, any country charges us, let's say, 100% or 200%, that's what they do. You could ask Harley Davidson, you could ask a lot of companies that are unable to put their product into these countries because what they do, they make it impossible. We immediately charge them the exact same thing. It's called reciprocal. Reciprocal. So if India charges our companies 100, we charge their companies 100. It's very simple. And yet we have people in Congress that say, no, I don't think that's good. Anybody that says that's no good, very interesting. Lindsey Graham, the progressive from South Carolina. No, he's a progressive, but he's got some good things too, okay? But Lindsey Graham, I said to him, Lindsey, you got to go along with this. We were all set to get it done. You got to go along with this. He said, so let me get this straight. If they charge us, we charge them the same thing. He said it's not his strength. Other things are his strength. He said, so they charge us, we charge them, same thing, right? Yeah, you got my vote. That's so easy. But, you know, well, you have guys in there that I guess campaign contributions are much worse than that. Maybe campaign contributions that aren't recorded. But can you imagine? But we were close to getting that done. And